many times I get the question a different way. And the question that I get, like when we're doing say a webinar or even a masterclass is, Gary, I don't like my practice model. I don't like the PPO practice model. I feel like the proverbial hamster on the treadmill. I don't like any part about it, but at some level, my practice kind of works for me and I don't want to go backwards. So in their mind, they're thinking that, is there a risk of going backwards? And to get very specific about that, am I going to bring in less money in a practice by, resigning from PPO plans? Am I going to make less money?
My take home is going to go down.
Does my take home go down? Because ultimately, we can measure a lot of different things when it comes to economics of a practice, but ultimately one of the things we can look at is, what's your pre-tax take home income?
Right.
And I don't know anybody that wants that number to go backwards.
I think if there was one question that every single webinar you get, Gary, it's this question: will my take home go down if I go down this road?
So that's the question that gets asked, because I think that's where the fear point is.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting, Naren, because I was having this conversation with a client that is early in the journey. We have that 6-step plan to successfully resign from PPO plans. But this is a client who's early in the journey. We're early in the preparation stage. We've not resigned from any plans yet. We're early. The doctor, I could see, had trepidation. Said, Gary, I think I've got a lot of the ingredients to do this, but there's a voice in my head that says, hey, last time I went to a local dental society meeting, there was some discussion about maybe we should consider dropping, plans immediately the voice was the collective voice from the dentists at the dental society meeting. Oh, well, you can't do that here because it's such a competitive marketplace. Oh, you can't do that here. And Naren, what happens when we start hearing that frequently? What is that? How does that affect our psyche?
Yeah, I mean, it's called social proof, but in this case, it's working negatively, right?
But it is social proof. It's social proof saying you can't do it.
Yeah, if everyone says they can't do it, they must be right? Because how can the masses or the majority be wrong?
Yeah, my client playfully said, Gary, in my community, I think there's more dentists than Starbucks stores. Well, we know how ubiquitous Starbucks stores are, right?
Right.
They're everywhere.
Yes.
And he said, yeah, in my community, we have more dentists than Starbucks. So it is a real issue here. As we're talking, we're in a Zoom meeting, so I could see him and he could see me. And I said, well, you do remember our plan B, our backup plan. And Naren, I might have asked, I could have just as well have asked him, who's the president of Zimbabwe right now? Because he literally looked at me with eyes as big as saucers, and he didn't have any idea what our plan B was. And he said to me, Gary, I'm embarrassed, but I don't remember us ever talking about a plan B. Shame on me, man. Things have been really busy in the office, and I don't think I'm getting forgetful, but man, I don't remember us talking. Would you mind sharing with me what our plan B? Because I got nothing. I got crickets here. I don't have any idea what our plan B is.
Yes. And
so I'm playing this. By the way, for the record, he and I had never talked about a plan B. So I was deliberately doing this theatrically. And I said, well, doctor, our plan B is, if it doesn't work, wait for it. We'll sign back up with the PPO plans.
Yeah.
And I said, Doc, for the record, you and I have never talked about, your memory's fine. And he laughed and I laughed. We were literally just laughing hysterically. And I said, I was kind of leading you on there. We've never talked about a plan B, but let's talk about it now. There is a plan B, and that is that you're going to sign back up.
Right.
And he looked at me, he goes, oh my gosh. He said, I feel like the weight of the world is just lifted from my shoulders. I'm so glad we're having this conversation, Gary. Because I feel like I feel like I'm not making, a life or death decision where, something could go horribly wrong. You're absolutely right, Gary. I could sign back up. And we're right back where we were. And I did want to bring one qualification, or at least for our listeners. In this case, my client is a younger dentist who is not able to be a Delta Premier member. The Delta won't accept him as Premier. They'll only accept PPO. But if you're a listener to this and you are Premier, there is a detail that we need to pay attention to. And that's that if you resign from Delta, they're not going to let you back in under Premier. They're only going to let you back in under PPO. So there is a possible negative consequence to Delta. If you are a Premier and you resign and you do sign back up, then they're only going to let you in under PPO, which would be a lower fee schedule than Premier. And in that case, you would be going backwards. In every other case, the PPO plans let you back in as a regular PPO member, just like everyone else. And there's no consequence to that. There's no consequence to that. Now, for the record, we've never had, in my client base, have never had anyone had to sign back up.
Yeah.
So that plan B exists over here in theory, having never needed to have been implemented. But isn't it cool having a plan? Imagine, Naren, that I've talked you into skydiving. Okay. I don't know. We've never talked about skydiving, but
no, my daughter just skydived on her 20th birthday, and I will never do it.
Okay. So for the record, Naren's never going skydiving. Imagine that I say, well, Naren, wait a minute. This is a group that has a perfect safety record, and you're going to have a professionally packed chute. And in fact, Naren, you are even going to have a backup parachute in case your main parachute doesn't open up. I still don't think I'm changing your mind. But now you've got a backup parachute. And for some people, they're going to say, wait, there's a backup parachute too? So the main one doesn't open, the other one opens? Yep. Well, in the same way, doctors, you have a backup plan. You have a plan B.